why you should not use online dating. Quite simply, online dating sites and apps are huge hunting grounds for our kind, narcissists. There is a proliferation of our kind there. And as an individual who is not a narcissist and is empathic, you are swimming with the sharks. And your chances of being ensnared by one of our kind through an online dating site or application are very high indeed. You will have repeated ensnarements, brushes, interactions with our kind, which can range from suddenly thinking that you found somebody wonderful who disappears, to ghosting is common parlance for that these days. Where this ghosting occurs, that's a narcissist. And you would be left disappointed and bewildered as to that person's behaviour. You may find the person has a few dates with you and you're ghosted at that juncture. And they won't respond to you. And you then question, was there something wrong with you? Because as an empathic individual, you have the capacity to self-flagellate. And rather than recognise that that was a narcissist that you had a brush with, most people think they must have done something wrong, or that individual has found somebody better, and it impacts on their self-worth. Of course, it can get even worse, that the early interactions result in the relationship moving forward to becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, partners, moving in together. And once that golden period disappears, the devaluation occurs, and it will occur if you have become the intimate partner primary source. And you will then be subjected to the full horror of the narcissistic dynamic. You have been drawn in, found within the hunting ground that is online dating, lured in by the narcissist, and the relationship taken from the virtual to the actual, and that day-to-day physical relationship becomes a hellish one. For some, the outcome can even be physical injury, even death at the hands of a narcissist that operates through the online arena. Whilst death is rare, it may happen. Moreover, there is the risk of the narcissist utilising these applications for the purposes of financial advantage through gaining money from individuals. Only recently, the Tinder swindler came to light, somebody I will be talking about in greater detail on another occasion. And there are repeated instances of individuals trusting empathic people who have been lured in by an individual and defrauded, handing over often significant sums of money, sometimes borrowing money to provide to the swindler, who of course is a narcissist and has utilised the ease that comes with the online environment to facilitate the financial fraud. Whether it's a financial fraud or a love fraud, the online arena is a huge hunting ground for our kind. And here's why. First of all, it provides us with fuel. There is a vast array of individuals who start off as tertiary sources because they are strangers, who will provide some low potency, low amount, but frequent amounts of fuel. But if the narcissist, of course, is casting his web through cyberspace and is interacting, as he can easily do, with scores of individuals at any one time on dating sites, all of that builds up to a nice steady flow of fuel. And those tertiary sources will then become secondary sources, non-intimate, as they become friends. And should the relationship develop in a sexual way, become virtual intimate partner secondary sources, thus increasing the potency of the fuel that is provided. And therefore, the technological ease that exists with such dating sites is ideal for the provision of fuel to our kind. These sites are predicated on physical looks. Despite what anybody says, everybody looks at the picture and makes an instant value judgment as to whether they are interested in that person. If they are, they will then go on to read more about the individual. But people are driven by photographs and pictures. Accordingly, it then follows that because our kind within the somatic and elite cadres ensure that we are enhanced through looking after ourselves, gym regimes, wearing makeup, having appropriate skin maintenance routines, etc., etc., teeth whitening, narcissists invariably are good looking of the somatic and elite variety. Therefore, our pictures are going to attract more attention. And because this is picture driven rather than personality driven, more of our kind will benefit from this one-dimensional approach through the online dating site. And therefore, not only will you have more of our kind operating on these sites, there's a greater risk that you'll be attracted to one of our kind because we are overrepresented in the looks department. Of course, not everybody who's good looking is a narcissist, far from it, but as a proportion of good looking people, you will find more narcissists there. But let's not forget the cerebral and victim narcissists. What about them? Well, the recourse for them, of course, is to utilise false pictures and profiles. Easily done. They can obtain them from somewhere else off the internet and pass them off on themselves, the typical thing that's described as catfishing. The cerebral, of course, will not be interested in meeting up. He will be gaining his fuel from a safe distance through the internet. The victim, similarly, may be ensconced at home, does not have the means or the energy to want to be out and about, and can hide the deficiencies in terms of looks and achievements quite readily by utilising the pictures of somebody else. And therefore, the ability to portray through physical appearance only, which drives so much behaviour on these sites, is a tremendous boon to our kind and thus attracts us to them. Online dating sites also allow us to just provide a snapshot. So the pictures that are used, the best angles can be utilised. The typical selfie taken from above, for instance. Instances where people only use headshots or they'll utilise filters. And it can provide a snapshot of somebody's life in a particular way. And being able to just put that portrayal in a framed particular manner, entirely manufactured, as opposed to appearing in real life with all of the hindrances and disadvantages, but realities that provides to somebody meeting an individual, is very appealing. Because, of course, narcissists have a construct. We have a manufactured self, and being able to have such control over the presentation of that image through online dating is a further reason why such sites are of such appeal to us. A further reason is there's no verification of those pictures or what is on our profile. We can write our own stories, pretend to be whatever we want to be. You can't check that. You will not have a real name to go against. You cannot ascertain if Empath Destroyer 007 is actually the CEO of a particular company, or has run a marathon, or that he has rebuilt an African village single-handedly, or whatever wild boasts and declarations occur within that enticing blurb that has been written. You have to take it at face value. The ability again to manufacture that portrayal without accountability, without verification at an early juncture, is again of particular appeal to narcissists. It also caters for an instant hit of fuel. Receiving a like from somebody to our profiles means a little bit of fuel. And then when a narcissist starts to engage with the prospect, the compliments, the flirtation, the questions, the compliments, the nice remarks, the emotional attention that's provided is all fuel. And whether that's through messages and then moving on to perhaps talking on the telephone, it enables a narcissist to obtain a very swift dose of fuel from lots of different sources. And because it's easy, that efficiency appeals to us, and it is effective, and that further appeals to our kind. There's no accountability with it either. There's no real effort involved. We're not having to go anywhere. We're not having to organise anything. We can just create that profile and sit back and let the fuel roll in. And if we don't want to reply to somebody, we don't. And therefore there's no accountability for the information that's provided, and there's no accountability in the engagement. And of course, it's part of our makeup that we must always lack accountability, because it's never our fault. And a mechanism that affords such a lack of accountability, such as online dating, is ideal for us. It also allows compartmentalisation. As I've explained earlier, we provide a snapshot. But this compartmentalisation goes further. If matters have moved on and we arrange to meet you, we can turn up and you have no way of knowing anything else about us. You've not seen us in the pub with other people. You've not seen us around work. We are in splendid isolation. And therefore, the narcissist that's married can go and see that date and portray himself as single. That date knows nothing more about the narcissist because he has been taken from his ordinary environment and placed himself in the dating environment, free of all other information around him. And consequently, it allows us to compartmentalise, which is something that our kind do. Because of the chameleon nature that we are, we can be loving family man, corporate raider, sports person, bon vivant of the party, sex maniac, and be those things to different people with none of them knowing about the other. Online dating has millions of profiles and thus millions of options for the narcissist. And given the fact that our need for fuel and the ease by which we can interact on these sites means that unless the narcissist is wanting to pursue you, if you find somebody who is a narcissist and you are very interested in them, but they are not that bothered about you, the chances are that rather than, as a normal healthy person would, give you a chance and engage with you to an extent to see where it goes to, the narcissist will just move on to one of those other options. No accountability to invest in you, and the plethora of options that are available appeals to the easily bored narcissist. If that one doesn't work, move on to the next one. If that doesn't work, move on to the next one. That one doesn't appeal, go to somewhere else. And have all of those irons in the fire at the same time. As chameleons, it appeals to the narcissist because we can shape everything, what is written, what we show to you, so that when the interaction commences with you, we can do what we invariably do, and that is mirror you. Remember, with lesser and mid-range narcissists, that is an instinctive response. It is not calculated, but it is with the greater. But this mirroring is done to show back at you the very things which appeal to you. Because ultimately you are looking for your other half, namely someone like yourself. That doesn't mean a physical representation, but you are looking for somebody who has the same moral outlook of life, similar interests, similar level of intelligence, perhaps an interest in a particular type of politics, or politics generally, or art, literature, that you might exercise. And consequently, because you're looking for somebody with similar interests and outlook and similar level of physical good looks, for example, or earning power, the narcissist shows you that back by mirroring. And that is part of the reason why you fall for our kind, because you are caused, in effect, to fall in love with yourself. Online dating also caters to the grandiosity of a narcissist in being something that they are not actually. So, for example, the loser lesser that lives in a trailer and has a fearsome temper through his ignited fury is able to pretend that trailer does not exist, and is able to mask that temper through the online arena. You just do not know about it. You are kept away from the dark side. The mid-ranger who thinks that he's charming and successful can portray himself as that. And the isolated snapshot nature of online dating facilitates that ever so readily for our kind. The nature of online dating also means that you are prevented from hearing about the type of person we are before it's too late. Invariably, if you meet somebody in real life through attendance at the gym, or a particular shared hobby, or attending the local pub, through social group, through work, you get to know that person first. And other people know about that person. So they can say, oh yes, such and such is a really decent guy, or oh, did you know that he's married, or he was once in prison, or yeah, he's really kind, and he's a really good laugh, and you might not know, but he's also a really good musician. You might be interested in that. So you are able to receive soundings, if you will, about that individual from other people, be they good, and more importantly, be they bad. You do not have that. And of course, you may think, well, I can check all of that out at a later juncture because I'm bound to meet friends, or I can verify what I've been told by doing, when I get some more solid facts about this person's name and where they live and work, I can do a little bit of online snooping perhaps, even ask them questions and look for that verification. Unfortunately, by that stage, it's going to be too late, and it will generally be ineffective. First of all, we operate with plausibility, and many of the things that are said, you will not question. You will not seek to verify them because, well, it sounds convincing. And also, as empathic individuals, you do not operate from a position of vigilance and high alert at the outset. That is not the way that you are. You do not automatically apply cynicism to everything a person says to you. You take it at face value. That is not naivety. That is the way that the world works, because if you had to question everything you were told, nothing would get done. Furthermore, even if you do ask about something or potentially express a concern, the narcissist will brush over it, and you are generally left feeling a bit silly for asking, or you'll feel embarrassed to take it further. You accept the answer, and again it will seem plausible, so you don't drill down. But worst of all, your emotional thinking will now be governing you. Why? Because you've been repeatedly interacting with a narcissist. Your emotional thinking wants you to feed your innate addiction to the narcissist. And therefore, every time you looked at that profile, sent a message, received a message, thought about the particular individual, talked to them, your addiction was being fed and your emotional thinking was increasing. By the time you meet this person, you may already be in too deep. And therefore, it will cause you to lose insight. You will think that they are wonderful, that you've met your soulmate, and your emotional thinking will cause you to miss red flags, and even if you see them, it will cause you to have no regard to them. Why? Because your emotional thinking is now in control. Logic is not governing you. This is particularly true, of course, for those who know nothing about narcissism. But even when you have become conversant in the subject, it is still there. And the risk is that early interaction, because it's fast and easy for us to do, means we rope you in, your emotional thinking is increased, and by the time you get to meet us and find out some more solid facts, you're not going to question them. You won't do the verification. And when you meet us, your emotional thinking soars even further because of the physical engagement with us, and you will, of course, be given the golden period, the facade of the delightful, wonderful person. And your emotional thinking will have you believing everything that you are told, and you are sucked in. So the fact that you are denied the opportunity to verify, to establish facts by seeing somebody in a natural environment, to see them in the round for a period of time, because that is the way online dating works, means that by the time you meet this individual, even if you then thought that you should question matters, you are not going to do it because you're already ensnared. And the fact that online dating affords the narcissist a section of time whereby you are completely prevented from verification and provides the narcissist with a period of time to give you the optimum portrayal, that snapshot, that manufactured image, you are drawn in. Your emotional thinking soars and you are ensnared. And therefore, it is highly effective for narcissists to use online dating. It's easy. It caters precisely to the way that narcissists operate. It allows you to be easily ensnared. It gives narcissists what we need in terms of fuel, a vast array of targets to move against, the ability to manipulate quite readily through the portrayal of misinformation or shaping the information in the best light. And accordingly, narcissists flock to online dating sites and applications. And you, as an empathic individual, will be caught by our kind. Accordingly, don't use them. You are going into shark-infested waters. You will be bitten. There are plenty of other ways to identify decent people to have a romantic relationship with. Yes, you may still run into narcissists. It's less likely, and you'll have more opportunity through a window of evasion to escape them. Online dating is just a technological device to make money from people in the pursuit of love, and it is a narcissist playground. So, take down that profile. Don't continue to online date because of the narcissists are waiting, and they will get you.